Hey, welcome back, everyone. I'm Pat at Maendeleolab. I hope you enjoyed the series, building a centralized architecture in AWS. Now, next, we're going to get practical. I want to have fun with this. Anyone who's watching this or curious to be able to start using this if you can. And we can, you can ask me questions and we can go from there. But here, before we get started, first thing always, requirements. So we're going to set up the environment. And in my case, I like using EC2. My scripts are basically using Python. And as we go forward, you'll get to see why I'm using an EC2 instance. So what we're going to do here first is create an IAM user with programmatic access. Those are the tasks. We are going to install AWS CLI version 2, right? So make sure it is version 2. We're going to configure API access, and then we're going to validate that we can use it. So first thing is we need an instance. So let's go to the command line. So we are deploy the instance. I'll come back here, refresh. The instance is being created. This is good. I'll pause and wait for it to become available, and then we'll go on to the next step. So while we are creating an EC2 instance, very next thing we are going to do now is create an IAM user with programmatic access. That's something that we need to do. So you need to go over to IAM. In IAM, you need to add a user. In my case, it's going to be a demo pod. And this is what's important. Here we want to create a user with programmatic access. You can see it here on the screen. We go to next. Then we want to attach an existing policy, right? So this is important, and depending on what you are doing, what I am doing in this environment, it's a lab. So in a lab, I have a lot of freedom to try a lot of different things. And what I always do, which is very easy, and I try not to complicate things, I give my bot administrator access. In your case, if it is not a lab that you have full authority over, maybe you are only allowed to perform EC2 tasks only, then you may have to make sure you select the correct policy. So just make sure you are setting up or creating the correct policy. In my case, it is administrator access. I'll go to next. I'll give it a name. I named it programmer, just something fun. And then we'll create the user. So this is important. You don't want to close this. Why? Because you get this once. So now what we need to do is connect and SSH to the instance. And just remember, this instance is going to be the instance that you will use to perform all your programming and also deploy resources, make API calls. So just remember that. Okay, here we are connected to the instance. And first thing I want to do, which is a good practice, is always to update, any new VMs that you create in the cloud. Just make sure you get the latest update patches. It's always good security practice, best practice, actually. All right, that was pretty quick. It is up to date. Very next thing I need to do is install the AWS CLI version 2. So for that, we can use AWS documentation. AWS does an amazing job with documentation. So first thing I want to do is, this is the documentation to install AWS version 2. I will have the link in the description, so you can use it as well. All I need to do here is simple, just copy and paste. So this is a copy to the clipboard. Here. Then next, we are going to unzip it. And we need to install the unzip utility. So let's do this. All right, that is installed. Very next thing is to unzip it. As you can see, that was quick as well. Then the very last thing is to install it. Let's verify that it works, that it was properly installed. And here we are, AWS CLI version 2 installed using Python 3.9.11.11. And we are looking good so far. So now that we are looking good, we have installed AWS CLI version 2. The next thing to do is to configure the API access. We use this command. Remember, we're not supposed to close this page. Here's the access key. Then we need the secret access. It's there. Default region. In my case, it is US East 1. For you, it could be any other region. Pick what you prefer. Default output, my preference is JSON. And now we need to confirm that this is working. How we do this, very simple. I'm going to run the s3ls command, and boom, I'm able to list the buckets that I have. And the reason I'm able to do this is an API call that I just made to S3, which is to list the files buckets that I have in my S3. And the reason it worked is because I gave administrator access to this bot. In your case, you may not have access to S3, and you could make a different API call just to make sure that this is working for you. So it looks like everything is looking good. We created an IAM user with programmatic access. We installed the AWS CLI version 2. We configured the API access, and we validated that the API access was working. So this completes the requirements of setting up the environment. If you find any trouble, you run into any issues, please drop any comments. Just ask a question and comment, and I'll do my best to help you out. Don't hesitate to ask a question. And salut.